that last video ended abruptly. And I did see Mittens running around in the background. So if you see my cat, her name is Mittens, and she is a little angel sent from the heavens. So let's get back onto the narcissistic abuse and what it does to us. And just know that a narcissist needs you way more than you need them. They have some deep wounding, and I came to this realization in my job as a preschool teacher, working with little 4 and 5-year-olds. A narcissist has had some kind of trauma in their early years of life, and basically they are stuck at the age that they experienced this trauma, and they have not been able to release it. So I understood, and I'm able to see my ex-husband, that why he is who he is, and I don't hold any bitterness or hostility towards it. I fully understand it, as we all have issues and trauma and things in our life that we are going through this life trying to figure out, hopefully, and heal so we can come back to our true authentic self and feel at peace. It's a beautiful space to be, but just know that they need you way more than you need them. And their fear of losing you and not having you in their life even makes their personality and the narcissistic trait so much more extreme and like heavy-handed, because they have to keep us at a space of guilt and shame and fear and not having any self-confidence or self-awareness. Because if we get to the space where we start to realize, like, this isn't true, this is all a bunch of shit, and I'm tired of it, and I'm leaving because I can live on my own, then they're gonna lose you. So that's an aspect that can take place, and it did within my relationship, and it's not great. So for me, and I heard this through a doctor when I started my journey 3 years ago, and starting to heal on YouTube and listening to doctors and podcasts and all kinds of amazing videos. But one of them had said, knowing something is wrong, but not knowing exactly what it is. That was me for 40 years. And when she said this, like, I broke down and cried. I'm just like, oh my God, that's been my whole life, and I don't know, and I didn't know, and all the things. But that is such a beautiful statement, and I'm so grateful that I got to hear that, because that helped start me on my journey of healing and stepping away from the narcissist and getting to the point that I can start to rebuild me and come back to me. And that I offer to everybody to understand that. If you're in a space and you're in a relationship or in a household or whatever, and you know something's wrong, but you just don't know what it is, feel it. Take a second to feel it and think, does this have some kind of narcissistic traits behind it? Are they projecting onto me what they're feeling inside? You never know. It was very helpful for me. Now, how narcissists handle disappointment, and this was really fun for all those years, is they throw tantrums, they are victimized, their vulnerabilities get activated, and they will blame you, or they will go into a rage. And to be fully authentic here, I'll say that 3.5 years ago, when I had my awakening, it was in the midst of a narcissistic rage. And that's big for me to say and just share, because wow, like, and I don't define who I am through that. And I don't want to define like my whole 40 years and my whole relationship in that current moment. But in that specific rage, that was the last rage that I will ever endure. And knowing now what I know about narcissistic personality disorder and what I know about my own healing and the inner child and all the things and all the spaces you need to get to be able to heal from being a victim of narcissistic abuse, and understanding and seeing through the eyes of a traumatized child that was never able to heal, and that's why they are the way they are. That's a beautiful space. Like, that's fucking transformational. I just gotta say it. Pardon my French, but that's huge. That's huge. And that's a beautiful space to be in. I don't want to keep quiet about narcissistic abuse because I know it's out there, and I have so many friends and acquaintances that have talked to me about their relationships and have mentioned things. And now that I'm aware of it and I know and accept what my journey of 40 years has been, I can spot it a mile away. Like, I can pinpoint a narcissistic person in a second, and I'm able to block their energy and have boundaries immediately. And so boundaries, when you're in a narcissistic relationship and you have a huge trauma bond and you have no self-worth or self-confidence or any kind of self-love at all, boundaries are zero. You have no boundaries. I had no boundaries. I allowed everything to be said to me, to happen to me, to take place unintentionally, but that becomes part of who I was. And being able to learn about boundaries and develop boundaries throughout the past 3 years of my life, transformational, a must. I have to say, like, there is such a sacred space for self-love and self-care and boundaries, and we all deserve it. We are all at a place, being here, born on this earth, where it is essential for self-love and self-care and boundaries. You cannot pour into somebody else's cup when your cup is empty. And as a victim of narcissistic abuse for 40 years, I poured into everybody's cup and not mine. And now I pour into my cup first, and I'm able to have so much more love and so much more healthy dynamic in relationships and so much more boundaries. And it's okay for me to say no. That's a tough one to learn. That took a long time for me to have that boundary of saying no, and it's okay, and not have fear of losing that relationship, or I'm going to make somebody upset, or I'm going to make somebody angry, or somebody's going to go into a rage, and all the scary things. Oh my gosh, what a hard place to be. What a tough life to live. But I'm proof here that you can get through it. There's so many more details. There's so much that can go into the topics of narcissistic abuse and being in a dynamic of narcissistic abuse. As a wife and a mom living in that narcissistic space, yeah, I had children in that narcissistic household. And I can look back and see things, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oy vey, like, wow. I wish I can go back and change that, but I know I can't, and I know everything happens for a reason. But now there's the awareness and the full unconditional love that I have and that I have learned for myself and for everybody in my circle, and actually humanity. We are all here on earth battling and learning to love and possibly get through spaces in our life that were just traumatic and painful. And to be able to do that without masking with like, everything's fine, I'm great, yeah, everything's good, or, you know, having to have alcohol or drugs or smoking or gambling or porn or whatever it is that we as humans turn to just mask the pain. I just really want to say to, like, if you can get to the space where you are you, like your soul chose to come to this earth for a reason, and you have a specific job on this earth to do, but we just get sidetracked. We get trauma, we get pain, we get masked to where we just need to numb ourselves to get through. But I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Like, if you have anything in your life that has any kind of inkling of narcissistic dynamics, I know it's hard, it's painful, it's traumatic. There's a space where you can learn your boundaries and learn to love yourself again. I appreciate you guys being here. I look forward to talking about this more. Like I said, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Let me know in the comment section what your situation is, what you've been through. Like, through us talking about it and me getting my story out there is such a beautiful space for humanity to possibly heal. Because if you're listening to this and you resonate with anything, this could be a little seed planted where you can start your journey of opening yourself up and understanding about all the dynamics of a narcissistic relationship and the trauma bond and the lack of everything within you and how you became a co-creator of that relationship. This is how I started my journey of the very beginning of like, what is wrong with me? Like I had mentioned before, to understand that there are people out there. We are all living through tough times in our lives, and we may not be aware of it, but we might not feel good inside. But just know that we are all one and we are here to help. And again, I say this with love. Everything I say is with love. And I hope that you have a beautiful day. Thank you.